Morning glory, America. Bonjour, hi, Canada. Greetings. It's Hugh Hewitt. You might think the big news of the week is that the Browns are playing tonight against the Redskins, or that the Indians are within 2 games of the Twins, and we have a 4-game series in the Metrodome. But actually, it's the fact I'll be on Meet the Press this Sunday with none other than Chuck Todd, who joins me now because if it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. Good morning, Chuck.
Well, good morning, Hugh.
I have to begin by telling you in the first hour today, late in the night in Oakland, a detective from the Oakland Police Department called me up on his way home from work and blasted me for talking to my friends in the mainstream media. You know, I've got you, Michael Shear, on today. I have Josh Kroshauer on yesterday and Dr. Oren in Israel. I want you to hear, because you run into this problem when I'm on your show from the left. I want you to hear what this guy said to me this morning. Let's talk about polarization in the media.
The guys I'm worried about are the people you work with who are increasing the rhetoric to such a high degree, as you mentioned yesterday, about monetizing their product in order to get higher ratings. And I don't think they realize that they are ginning up the machines to such a high degree. I do fear an attack either on the media or God forbid, a political assassination attempt.
Now, the guys I work with, do you mean, officer, the media generally, or the media on the left, the media on the right? Are you mad at all of us?
Oh, you guys are all reprehensible, and I have a particular bone to go ahead and pick with, because I think you go ahead and you hang out with these guys.
And then we went on. Okay, so, officer, you're talking about my friends in mainstream media, right? You're talking about Chuck Todd and Stephanie Rule. You're talking
who I will not listen to.
Okay,
at 5 o'clock.
but I just wanted to define to everyone listening. You're not worried about Mike Gallagher and Seb Gorka. You're worried about Jake Sherman, and later in the show, I've got Michael Shear, the New York Times on. You don't want me, and so you will turn off Chuck Todd, right? Is that what I hear you saying?
Absolutely.
So my question to you is,
and Stephanie Rule,
I hear you. How Josh, by the way, is completely neutral. He's actually a very good reporter. I understand how you might think the other ones, because of MSNBC. And so, Chuck, I went on and I said, how are we supposed to talk to each other in this country if we filter everyone out with whom we have disagreements? And I actually think this is becoming the default setting for most people in media. What do you think?
I think people like yourself need to explain this better to people. I'll just be honest to you. I'm disappointed in how you portrayed me in there, but I'll let that go for now. I think the problem is what he described. I actually give this guy credit in this respect. It is about profits. The problem is the type of journalism I do isn't ratings generating. It's the other way around. The easiest way to get ratings is to be a partisan hack, particularly on the right. Look at how much money Roger Ailes was able to create with Fox. The conservative echo chamber, there's way too much money to be made being a partisan hack on the left now, too. So that's the problem. It is that. It is the sort of that aspect, which is just say whatever it takes to get a rating. Always worry about ratings first. So that's what it is.
That's exactly, by the way, I don't want to play you the whole 10 minutes. That's exactly what I told him. Exactly what I told him. And by the way, I defend you all the time as a reasonable guy down the center, and I did to him as well. But I told him.
Sorry you didn't play that part of the. I'm sorry you didn't play that part of the clip.
Yeah, I just wanted you to hear him.
I appreciate somebody like Josh Kroshauer, who I hired years ago. I'm glad you defended him, because he deserves it too. Yeah,
well, you're bigger, and the little guys need more.
No, I don't. It's not. Look. Here's the thing. You want to know I just think there's way too many people. We have passively allowed the idea that Sean Hannity's journalism. People have decided that Sean Hannity and Lester Holt are the same thing.
Now, I don't think that's correct. I think people understand Sean is different from Lester.
Okay, I hope you're right.
Yeah, let me give you another, for example. I spoke to.
The fact is, this is the enabling aspect. I mean, what is again? It is the issue of the profit motivation. That's what this all is. Okay.
Do you agree that occurs on the left and the right, though? Do you agree that occurs on both?
I just said there's partisan. There's too much money to be made to be a partisan. Trust me, I watch it on cable. Those of us that are least partisan don't get the biggest ratings, do we?
100%.
The partisan hacks get the ratings. The partisan hacks get the radio contract. not those of us in the middle,
I
not
don't-
those of us that just do our job.
I
So,
don't think
look,
the term
that's
hacks,
the
though.
issue here.
I don't think the
That's
term
the
hacks
issue
is
here.
useful. You put on Peggy
You're
Noonan.
right. It wasn't useful. It wasn't useful until that's what it became. Look what happened. We're destroying the ecosystem, and more importantly, we've destroyed journalism. We've destroyed the perception of journalism.
Amen.
Basically, because of the rise of partisan of all this partisan. Look, 25 years of innuendo and character assassination on on professional journalists is what led to that gentleman believing what he believes about those of us in media.
And he's a detective.
That's what's happened here.
He's a detective, and so he investigates crime. Now, I point out, you bring on Matt Continenti, Peggy Noonan, myself. You run a fair game. I tell everyone, you and Jake Tapper run fair games. The CNN debate was a fair game. You ran a fair game. But here's what's happened, Chuck. I went to a gathering of young conservatives. 400. They're center-right people. They're my people. They're not fringe people. They're center-right people, very responsible. And I asked them, who would you trust to moderate a debate in November of 2016? And the answer was nobody. And I am concerned that this, and I've got the Knight Foundation's poll that came out this week that shows trust in media has gone down among independents 75%, among conservatives 95%. What do we do to get back to David Brinkley? That was my question yesterday. How do we get back? By the way, I think Lester Holt is the last guy standing in this world. And I don't mean any disrespect to CBS, ABC. I think Lester is probably the most respected journalist in America. And do you agree with me on that?
Look, I think the issue here is that way too many people try to blame the media for a problem when the problem is the politician, right? You had politicians exploit the belief. Look, why are people angry at the media? Because we're the messengers, okay? We're the messengers of the crummy news that's taking place. So they're angry at us, and I get that. They should be angry at the politicians who exploit the fact that instead of accepting the blame for the crummy job they've been doing, they say, no, blame the media over there. They're not telling you the full story. And then you find out later, the media did tell the full story, but you don't know that until 6 months later after essentially an echo chamber was allowed to help mislead and exploit what is the public's desire not to hear the crummy news.
So what should, given that we have...
So I think that's part of the problem. Look, you want to know that you know what happens half the day on Fox? They spend half the day with media grievances rather than covering the news. The most important thing that more journalists, more members of the media, what you should be doing, stop talking about the press and start talking about the issues. But the problem is bashing the media is such a reflexive, lazy deflection mechanism that you just have this reinforcing anger at the press who does not fight back.
By the way, I agree with you, and that's why I agree with you. That's why I have Jim Talent and Admiral Stavridis on. But what
we
should...
don't have a campaign apparatus to defend what we do. We just let people bludgeon us because if we fight back, it looks like we're being activists. I mean, it's one of those. It's a no-win situation.
What should television...
That's the issue. Stop covering the media as an issue and start covering it as issues. But again, you say, what should the media do? Let's not dance around this. Talk radio and Fox made the media political targets. That's when this began. It began, you can go back, it began in the modern era, began in the Nixon administration when they were angry at coverage of Watergate, and the idea of a conservative bias in the media became a talking point. Then it became a way to get on talk radio and get an audience. And then we started a news channel in Fox that basically, Bill O'Reilly's program was nothing more than an hour of grievances against the media and the press. So yes, 40 years of this. And guess what? An entire generation believes the press is nothing but a bunch of partisan hacks too.
Important minute right now.
Here.
We got 1 minute left. Do you believe there is a bias problem in the media that tilts it center left?
I think as long as you have human beings, we're born with original bias too. So I don't accept that premise. But you want to know, I've said this before. There's geographic bias. I've always believed that's what this is about. There's cultural bias. The real bias that has been exploited ever since was always having to do with religious and cultural bias, meaning people on the East Coast didn't quite understand the religious beliefs of others. And that's where what was real. So there was sort of a real disconnect on religion, and there was a real disconnect on some of these things. And then politicians exploited that to make it seem as if there's bias on everything.
That's
how we got here.
We could talk about this for hours. I'll see you on Sunday. We'll talk more about it. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. I'll be on with Chuck. I didn't even ask him what he's covering because we have no idea what today and tomorrow might bring. Thank you, Chuck Todd. I'll send you the whole clip of the officer. Don't go anywhere, America. It's the Hugh Hewitt Show.